So a few days ago, I had a run-in with an internet troll. It's never a good experience when it happens. And unfortunately, it did pertain to this podcast. I was sharing last week's Oilers-related segment on a few of the Oilers Facebook groups, and right now, that's actually kind of the biggest way that I actually get views. I mean, a good one I can do right now, it can attract about 100 views. That's not bad. I think that a lot of people would quit if that was all they were getting. I'm not one of them. I've actually seen what a lot of the other, Oilers-related podcasts do, and quite frankly, based on that, I'm not doing all that badly. In fact, I'm doing better than quite a few others, which is, by the way, in my view, kind of a shame, because I think that as fans, this is the kind of thing that we should support. And if you're not supporting my podcast, I think you should definitely be supporting some other people's podcasts. I guess it's one of those ways that we can kind of, build that fan community. Anyway, there's my pitch, for you to subscribe to either me or somebody else. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this thing that happened. And so I was posting it around, and on one particular group, there was a troll that popped up. Basically he was kind of, it was almost like a Steve Kazari, parody account of some sort, which is, by the way, a really lame, kind of pathetic thing to do. But, we're not talking about a person with a whole lot of sense or a whole lot of dignity. People rarely are. That's why they do what they do. But basically, they posted this really kind of insult-laden post, comment on one of the on one of the Facebook posts. Basically said, it's like, oh, why do admins even let this guy post this stuff here? And it's like, well, because some people watch it, and you don't have to. So if you don't like it, all you have to do is not watch. Your problem instantaneously is solved. That's easy. Oh, it is so easy for you to solve your problem. If you don't like the podcast, you don't watch. I don't care. If you don't like it, don't watch it. I don't care. I care if other people like it. But anyway, I went a little bit further, and I came back and basically said that this guy was, just didn't really care what he thought, because he's just a dime store lackwit troll. And so then this guy did what a lot of these guys do, and this is such a little dirtbag move, but these guys all seem to really get off on it, was that he reported the reply to Facebook, and I wound up taking a 3-day Facebook vacation. Very irritating. And it's unfortunate to have to say this, but it's, a lot of the policies and a lot of these social media companies have put in place to crack down on a lot of the harassment and bullying that happens on their platforms have actually turned into very, very convenient and very ingratiating tools for these trolls to use in their own bullying and harassment. Because now what they can do is they can go out and they can incite somebody to respond to that, and there's any number of, must be hundreds upon hundreds of little key words in that reply. The automated system just dings them and says, okay, yeah, no, you're bullying and harassing. You're actually responding to a bully, or you're responding to a harasser. But it's like the algorithm doesn't even bother to look at what you're responding to. It just says, okay, no, you're the guilty party, you take a 3-day vacation. And then these guys sit there laughing, because the policy that's supposed to be there to punish them is instead being used as a tool to bully and harass their victims. It's a very frustrating thing if you actually find yourself, on the receiving end of that. This isn't the first time that I've had that. Actually, I think it was all the way back in, that must have been back in March, when I was taking a stand against another bully, one that happened to run what was, ostensibly the biggest Oilers Facebook group page, but what it turned out was that they were basically a piracy ring. They did the same thing back then, and I wound up taking a 24-hour vacation, despite the fact that I was just responding to somebody who was, being a bully and a harasser. In particular, that's pretty annoying when you've got these posts up and you're getting engagement on them and people are commenting, and you would like to be able to respond and have that conversation with them. But you can't because some troll decided that he had to come and shit in everybody's cornflakes. You know, that's frustrating, and it is what it is. But you know, the one thing that I am absolutely never going to do is I'm absolutely never going to quit doing this podcast. You know, just to satisfy a bunch of, you know, lackwit dime store shit for brain trolls. Will never happen. And if the guy who runs the biggest and if the guy who runs the biggest Oilers fan Facebook page on Facebook, you know, is too focused on stealing from the team and bullying people to support the fandom, I'm not going to quit for that jackass either. I'm just plain old not going to quit until I'm damn well ready to go on and do something else. So in the meantime, you know, any of the trolls out there who are upset that this podcast exists, you better get used to seeing this face. You better get used to seeing it. You're going to see it for a long time.